We can learn a lot from what's happening to public figures. Stick around if you'd like to know what Taylor Swift's haters can say about social expectations. Before I start this, I'm going to say I'm not a die-hard Swift fan, but I am a fan of her music. The difference between a fan and a fangirl, so to speak, is a fan can criticize someone's work without idolizing them and justifying every single move that they make, even if it's messed up. A fangirl, on the other hand, tends to idolize celebrities and blindly follow them without calling out their offensive behaviors or the wrong things that they do. But this video is not a Taylor Swift critique, it's about the most significant criticisms I think people have about her and where I think those criticisms are actually coming from. Remember, I don't refer to any political problems people have with Taylor. Taylor's songs represent romantic idealism. Romantic idealism is the idea that you prioritize emotions, imagination, and your own emotional experience over practicality or rationality. She's the kind of person who loves connection. She loves relationships. She loves romance. Even passing flames or small encounters with people, they mean a lot, and she is an idealist. At least that's how she comes off with her songs as an artist, and people don't really like that. People call it being naive. Taylor's songs are also very emotionally deep and expressive. Critics of Taylor do not like that either. People are uncomfortable when others express intense emotional vulnerability, especially public figures, because it challenges social norms about how an emotionally regulated adult should act and be, and how they should express their emotions. It's also called projection. You don't like seeing someone else feel deeply and being vulnerable because they mirror that part of you that avoid your feelings. Well, if you're someone who's uncomfortable with someone's deep emotion, that tells me you're someone who avoids emotions on a deeper level, at least expressing how you feel. Maybe you're ashamed of feeling. Maybe you're ashamed of how intensely you tend to feel, so you put it all in a box and you lock it up because that's what society expects you to be and to do. So if you avoid emotion and you suppress it because you are ashamed of it and think it's naive, then everybody else is supposed to do so too, because it's shameful and naive and cringe if you sing your heart out about the boy or the girl who hurt you. You yourself want this cinematic, idealized love, but you're ashamed to even admit it, because by social standards for an adult, that's immature, it's too much or unrealistic. You should just grow up. You're not supposed to believe in romance, just be pragmatic. So instead of saying, well, I want to feel so deeply and freely, you judge her as an immature and naive person. Society loves emotional control, but there's always a part of you that wants to just freely express how you feel, that messy human parts, to liberate those parts. And Taylor does it so well, unapologetically, by her platform. And some people cannot tolerate it. One thing she's been accused of is calling out her exes in her songs. The argument the critics are putting forward is that the exes are also human beings and they're also celebrities themselves and their reputation will be tarnished. It's like exposing their private life. Let's take a celebrity part out of it for a minute. There's a person, let's call him John. Now, John is deceptive, let's say, and John loves to ghost people. Maybe he gets a kick out of it. So he lies intentionally and then abandons you, so you decide to just move on. But not everyone can move on that fast without having their moments of vulnerability and without feeling. I believe that people are entitled to their own emotions unless it is violent. Let's say John is a decent human being, but John is terrible in romantic relationships. Say John said things and didn't follow through, or he made promises he didn't keep. For an emotionally deep, sensitive soul, this person, John, even if John is likely generally a decent person, John is now like a monster. It doesn't mean that you're not an adult for feeling that way. It just means that you're a sensitive, deeply emotional individual. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you say there's something wrong with that, that means you're highly emotionally invalidating, and that is not a good look on you. And what did he do? He just threw it away. And doesn't it make you feel things intensely? I think you're allowed to feel it, to express it. And if you can capitalize on, transmuting that pain into creative pursuits, great. Some people have said she's always acting like the victim, or some people have commented saying she's white and a billionaire, pretty and so privileged, but she's always acting like the victim. I think this is coming from a place of resentment and envy towards billionaires. I think people think that she's being the victim is because she's hitting back at someone who treated her unfairly, because that person and that event perhaps scarred her for life. And that does tend to happen. But according to the critics, you're supposed to move on gracefully, like nothing happened. But if you do throw a fit, which is society's way of referring to when you sing or write about or express how hurtful a person was and how much it hurt you and how deep the connection meant to you, or how much you wanted it to continue and it didn't because this person betrayed you, that means you're a teenager in an adult body. So according to this, what people are actually bullying Taylor is for her emotional depth. People say that she is dissing her exes. Dissing is very misunderstood in my opinion, because I think dissing is indirectly calling out someone but also insulting them. Dissing is very common in the music industry, especially in hip-hop. It's not just specific to Taylor Swift, but she seems to be the one that gets the most hate for talking about her exes in her songs. So dissing, according to psychology, can be different things. Like, act of dissing has a purpose, according to psychology. I think one of them is like by calling out someone, you're trying to protect your ego. That part of you that's trying to protect your self-image or how you think and feel about yourself. We all want to think and feel good about ourselves in all aspects. So when another person or institution threatens your ego, like by saying something insulting or doing something that tells the world that you're not enough or spread rumors or you're too much in some way. Let's say Nina says she's like really short for a model about you, and you'll make a song and tell the world that you're better than that person because of XYZ to protect your ego, but also your status. That's your ego trying to protect you and convince yourself that what Nina said about you is not true, and tell the world that it's not true as well. So when somebody tries to break your confidence or something like that, it creates a lot of anxiety and anger in you that you're going to want to pick yourself up and rebuild some pride and say something that makes you look better in the eyes of people, but also in your own eyes to protect your own self-image. You're going to want to tell the world and prove to the world that you are above Nina, who insulted you, in the social hierarchy. Or Nina is weird and ugly and not very reputable. These are all insults because she broke your heart or called you too short. Now, I've listened to most of Taylor's songs, and although she talks about her exes and very specifically, so people can say who it is she's talking about, she doesn't do any of the things I mentioned about dissing. She doesn't insult. She doesn't say, oh, you're ugly, I'm richer than you, and you deserve nothing because you said this about me. That's because she sticks with one side of dissing, and that is catharsis. Catharsis is emotional release, but it doesn't have to do with direct insults to a person. It's about turning that hurtful story where you were hurt by someone into some form of creative art. You feel angry, you feel rage, humiliation, and you make a song about it, and that's therapeutic. Let's be honest, most of us have essays, poems, or songs, or rap songs written somewhere, even if we can't sing, when someone insults you and you feel angry. The only difference is we didn't publish it yet, at least. I just don't see anything wrong with that. But also, turning that pain, that story, into art, a creative form, helps you feel a sense of control and power. When all you felt in that story was pain, loss, betrayal, you felt helpless and powerless. This gives you an outlet to express, but also to feel in control. You made a song, you wrote something, there's a story about something that happened, and you externalized it, but also you use your talent and your skill to turn it into art. You mixed all these things, you make this concoction, it's turning pain into power. That's emotional alchemy. Taylor is bullied on the internet for her figures of speech. She spoke of death a lot. She compared her breakups or situationships ending to feel like she was dying. And the critics are saying, well, it was just a passing fling or a passing affair, so just get over it. You're a 35-year-old and stop acting like you're a petty teenager. Because she exaggerates what happened in her songs. What's happening here is peak emotional invalidation. Emotional invalidation is when people tell you that your emotional experience or the emotions you feel as a reaction to a particular event, or just what you feel overall, is incorrect, it's improper and unacceptable. This is also in a way manipulation and gaslighting. Most of her albums are filled with pain, a lot of emotion, anger, all reactions to betrayal and loss and unreturned love, right? One of the greatest songs in TTBD is So Long London. This song reminds me of my own relationship with a family member, but for Taylor it was one in the context of a romantic relationship. She describes compassion fatigue, where you love someone, you empathize with them, so you give a lot in your time and energy and effort, and it's not returned. So over time, it's like you're donating blood to someone consistently, and it's not replenished. You don't really get any nourishment because it's not reciprocal. You just, lose your life. And that sort of image is visceral. It's abysmal. It doesn't really make sense to a person who has not experienced that deep level of emotion. But that's emotion. It's a feeling. When it comes to emotional expression via creative outlets, I don't think structure and rules apply. They shouldn't. Like, it has to be cathartic. And if you can earn by your emotional expression, why not? People accuse Taylor of capitalizing on her pain. Why not do that? She's freely creating something in the creative arena. Whatever the piece of art that you create, there's a whole lot of you included in that piece. If you're creating something, a creative something, it represents you, the person who's creating it. Art can't be separated from the creative. So if you're constantly singing about how you like to cheat and be salacious or hurt someone, or that you're better than someone else, which Taylor doesn't do that, that's you. And one of the greatest, but also the hurt poets of all time, Sylvia Plath, received a lot of backlash for comparing her state of mind to Holocaust victims in her poem Daddy, but that's dramatization. It's symbolic. It's creativity is an outlet that helps you externalize your pain. A technique used by therapists when it comes to trauma processing, where you tend to draw someone and color them, or journaling, recording your thoughts. The purpose of this is to help you process what happened. There are still fragments in your mind. You put it onto paper, and now you have this written essay-like thing. And when you put something outside of yourself, from the mind, you can see it, you can name it, and work with it. It's easier to work with it instead of being consumed by it. It's healing. Her new album, The Life of a Short Girl, people have said several things about Taylor's new album. The album doesn't fit the songs. The second one was, it doesn't seem like a work of art, but a business to make a quick buck. That may all be true. I'm not sure. But she's also happy now. There was this bit on there was an episode. I will link the episode. I can't link the episode. I will just put it here. There was an episode and a bit on Family Guy about Taylor Swift and about this, and some people not find it relatable enough. Taylor started to sing happy songs instead of about heartbreak, and people just started throwing eggs at her at a concert or something. When you have been singing about betrayal and heartbreak for a long time, people find it very relatable, right? Pain is relatable, but when you're singing happy songs like Taylor did in this live of a circle, some people may not find it relatable enough. And as long as she sings about loss, betrayal, and heartbreak, people may find it easier to relate and enjoy his songs. But the moment it turns into happiness or contentment, it's just not worth it anymore. Haven't you had friends like that? You know, people who tend to like follow you or really appreciate you, really like you because you were, telling sad stories. But the moment that you achieved a milestone in your life, or the moment that you feel happy and you're healing, maybe you're going to therapy or healing and you're now at peace and you're experiencing more and more joy, you're getting better. Now people don't like that. People are leaving you, abandoning you because you're happy. So that's what I have for you today. I will see you in my next video.